In one of his most childish moments in court, let that soak in, Darrell Brooks got into a drag-em-out verbal punch fest with Judge Jennifer Dorow over his COVID test results. He lost, and in the most hilarious way possible. If you never thought you could laugh while watching a grown man cry, think again. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With cold, blunt analysis cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's time for the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Mr. Brooks, I was provided with information that your test result was hand-delivered to you, folded. Did you receive that?
If you're wanting a simple yes or no, Judge, well, too bad. I'd like a new Ferrari, but I'm not going to get it.
I was made aware of my test. I didn't look at it yet, so.
Do you have it with you?
It is. It's in my paperwork somewhere.
All right, I need you to locate it and open it up, please.
May I ask the reason why that would be?
Mr. Brooks, you raised this issue yourself, and I'd like to know the result.
We were all on the edge of our seats, Darrell, wanting to know if you've contracted the Rona. Well, not really. We wouldn't care even if the test was for flesh-eating bacteria. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We'd care. We'd want a positive result.
I would too, but I was kind of in the middle of preparing for my defense, so
Mr. Brooks, find the piece of paper and open it up and read it, please.
Your Honor, I don't consent to being talked to in that fashion.
Your lack of consent is noted for the record. Please find the piece of paper, open it up, and please read it.
I will not consent to that, Your Honor. Or do I agree to that, Your Honor? I do not.
In other words, you can't make me.
Mr. Brooks, then I'm going to advise the Sheriff's Department to find the piece of paper and hand it to me so that I can read it.
Ooh, maybe she can.
So those are your two options.
What would be the basis for that, Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks, this is an issue that you raised, and I need to bring it to finality and know what the test result is.
Okay, with all due respect, it was a motion that I raised.
That look. That look reminds me of angry teacher who has just heard one of her students call her the B word.
All right, I'm going to clear the courtroom. We're going to go off the record, and we're going to find that piece of paper, and I'm going to address it when that's done.
The deputy is thinking to himself, my God, do I hope he puts up a good struggle. I'd pay anything for him to take a swing at me.
Excuse everyone from the courtroom, take a recess so that the test result could be obtained, and if necessary, by reasonable force. It's my understanding there was some type of situation or altercation between Mr. Brooks and the deputies.
Man, those deputies were such brutes. So the good Judge Jennifer Dorow has sent Darrell to his room, where he'll have plenty of time to think about what he's done. I love the way that he refuses to look into the camera. He's a petulant child. I'm not even going to look at you, Judge. Take that. By the way, legend has it that Darrell tried to keep the deputy from getting to his COVID report by flinging his body on top of it, like a soldier saving his buddy from a hand grenade. Except that would be an honorable thing to do. Well, certainly more honorable than trying to prevent a court from finding out that you've been faking having the Shanghai shivers.
I want Mr. Brooks to know that I am not removing him from when the jurors are brought back in. It was just simply because he was upset. He was very loud when I walked into the courtroom before going on back on the record. He was yelling about his constitutional rights being violated. I advised him that if there was any type of use of force that he wanted to complain about, he could certainly do that. through the proper channels with the sheriff's department, but just given his state of agitation and my need to make a record, I had him taken to the other courtroom. He is currently muted. I do not intend to go forward with additional testimony. Ultimately, I'm going to take an early lunch break because of this, but I will make a record of the following. I have the result. I am going to scan it, have my clerk scan it. It will be filed as confidential, though. It won't be available to the public, but it's there for appellate purposes, but I can confirm that the test result for COVID-19 was negative. And again, I required the sheriff's department to provide that result to me, and it will remain under seal. I realize I'm disclosing that result, but I feel obligated to do that given the motion that was raised 2 days ago by Mr. Brooks.
In other words, this is so juicy, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep it to myself.
So that will hopefully give Mr. Brooks an opportunity, if he so chooses, to review the result himself. It was put in front of him. I did see that he either shoved it or tossed it or just dismissed it. It looked like it went on the floor.
Take that, Judge. You see what I did? I took your paper and I threw it on the floor. And what are you going to do about it?
When it was put in front of him, but we'll certainly have the deputies give that to him again. During the recess for lunch, Mr. Brooks will also be given the opportunity to change into street clothes if he so chooses.
So here's where Darrell can employ his fabulous tautological scheme. In this case, it would go like this. Why are you giving me the option of reading the results if I don't have to read them? It's true. If any attempt on your part to wrap your brain around that logic causes you to have to smoke a blunt or ingest a handful of shrooms, you'll know why Judge Dorow needed an extended vacation after the trial concluded.
But when we come back, he will be in this courtroom. I agree. Mr. Brooks was making a couple of statements about how he was abiding by the rules and being respectful, things of that nature. I agree. He's done an excellent job while in court here this morning. He's been respectful of the rules. He made some early on. I let him, make his objections or lack of consent. He did that respectfully.
Listening to the judge, you'd think that Darrell Brooks was Milwaukee's own Johnny Cochran. Now, before any of you go off on her for complimenting him, let me note that she's just bulletproofing the court record in the face of Darrell's appeal on grounds that he didn't know what the hell he was doing. The judge made her mistakes, but this isn't one of them.
When I said I was moving on, he generally was able to do that. We were able to get through 2 witnesses. He was able to follow along, ask cogent, clear, responsive, and articulate objections. He was able to elicit information from the witnesses regarding either their memory, their credibility.
Okay, if you're an adult and anyone ever talks to you like this, then something terribly has gone wrong in your life. You have either been admitted into a rest home or an insane asylum. No one listening to this would ever think that they should be living on their own. And Darrell won't be.
And other things. Generally speaking, he's been able to competently represent himself and provide, again, solid cross-examination this morning. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to hopefully settle back in.
Where have I seen this before? Oh, wait. There was that one time.
Think about your lonely youth. No home, no friends, no warmth, no affection. Cactus in your diaper. Yes! Yes, there's a tear! We're curing you!
And to come back here when we return from lunch.
She's saying nice things about me. I've done good. I've done good. She thinks I'm smart. Finally, someone loves me.
She doesn't mean it, Darrell. In fact, she's probably fighting back the chuckles as she speaks.
So with that, we are in recess. Probably come back at 1 o'clock, since it's only 11:30, and we'll take the full 90 minutes for lunch today.
Dude, this is pathetic. If I'm the warden, I'm showing this video to all the other inmates. I mean, prison life is depressing, and they could probably use a good pick-me-up. You can even get a new nickname, Sniffles. Sorry, but we're going to have to go back and add some sound effects to place this crying in the proper context.
Generally speaking, he's been able to competently represent himself and provide, again, solid cross-examination this morning. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to hopefully settle back in and to come back here when we return from lunch. So with that, we're in recess. Probably come back at 1 o'clock, since it's only 11:30, and we'll take roughly 90 minutes for lunch today. All right, thank you, everyone.
If you missed the Darrell Brooks trial, that's too bad, but recordings are freely available on YouTube for your enjoyment. And let me tell you something, Darrell delivers. Whatever you may think of him, and none of it is good, the guy is a comedic genius. And the amazing thing is the humor density of this trial. I can safely say that if you can listen to 10 minutes of Darrell cross-examining a witness without laughing, you are legally deaf. I have more of these coming, so like my video and be sure to subscribe.